Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing okay. I got a lot of outside work done yesterday. I had a secret garden in a cove of the house, like an indentation place. Um, I have to get some. I have red ferns in there. I took out a. I had a bleeding heart bush and some Japanese irises and other things in there. And the red ferns were the last ones I've got to get out of there. So I moved. I had like a barbecue grill by they're growing like under it and back of it. And so anyway, I got all that cleaned out and ready to get those ferns out of there. And we're going to take our chimney down that's there because we've got new stuff to go up. And so anyway, a little at a time. But yeah, I did some weeding and some other stuff, built a bonfire keeping the bugs away. That's still smoldering today, about not quite 24 hours, but about 22 hours it's been going. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it. I love the wood smoke smell if it's like a good wood, like pine and oak. And maple is good for smoking foods, but it doesn't always smell so good burning on the fire, the sweetness of it. Like if you know what burnt sugar tastes like or smells, that sometimes you'll get that when you're burning maple as a like a fuel or whatever. So, but yeah. And then there's a lot of brush we can burn too, just on the bonfire. So that keeps the bugs away too. But I had some big old, like almost rotted chunks that are just wet. So I got like a hot fire going with some kindling and then threw one of them chunks on there. Well, there were a couple left from another time. So between the three pieces, it's still. Oh, no, I did throw one more punk wood. I was moving these big logs around, which was really good because I had done my exercises yesterday. Before I went out, I did some stuff in the house and then went out and did some like weight bearing stuff, which was, pretty good. I know, I always do that. Goofy grammar, right? So, yeah, but anyway, yeah, I'm happy I can still use my muscles. I know people my age that are in nursing homes and they've been that way. One friend of mine, he's only like 6 months older than me. He's hasn't been able to walk for probably the past 16 years, maybe. I think we were about 50 and he started like having to use canes and wheelchairs and all that stuff. So, yeah, he used to split rock to make, like split rock fireplaces and chimneys, and they're just beautiful if you've ever seen that. Yeah, it's it's beautiful work, but yeah, that's hard work. And you don't always do it by hand too. They have a machine, but just working with the big rocks, and that type of thing. And then the concrete, which my dad had a concrete business on the side, and the lime in that will like rip your skin up, even your lungs and everything. I mean, I'm sure they probably cover themselves more. Of course, we had gloves and that type of thing, but I was his finisher. Well, I mean, I'd help him move the sand and the gravel and, um, the, uh, and I can't even think of it right now. And because we made a pool here too with out of concrete. We ended up filling it in. I think Doug didn't like it. I loved it, but yeah, anyway. But long story. But anyway, the Portland, duh, yeah. But anyway, so I mean, I used to get things ready for my dad, but then after they laid it out and skimmed over it, trawled over it, then we'd put boards out there, and I'd go out with a trowel because I was the littlest one, and we'd first I'd get to flood it with water, a little bit of water to see where it was pooling, and then I go out on a board and trawl it out flat till the water spot was gone. That was one of my jobs. And tamping footings and whatever, I learned how to do. So actually, for my contractor's license, I was learning how to build from the ground up even when I was little. So thanks to my dad, and he did build houses his own, and yeah, real beautiful places. So yeah, I learned a lot. And then my grandpa was a plumber, and my dad worked for the water department, helped build the waterworks in Minneapolis, and the architecture for that. I learned a lot of that when I was a kid too. So all these things came in handy for me. And then I get this age, and I can't even remember what Portland is. No, yeah. Anyway, so and you can make your own too. Um, with wood ash. Wood ash makes soap and concrete, and if you think about it, even the leftovers to stuff in this world are like compost. It's a good thing. So, yeah, I have many topics in my head today. Um, Nothing in particular. I don't think. I had watched a really good live stream with Flat Earth British channel, Martin Leakey. He's a character. I just love him. He's such a nice man. He's so intelligent. That's if you're nice and intelligent, even if you're nice, but some people are intelligent in other ways, like maybe somebody might be more of a scholar in life, but somebody might have better leadership skills than the scholarly one or those type. That's how everybody's individual. We have our own things in this world. So our own gifts. I don't know what I'm gifted at. I think just my faith in God. And no matter what the Satanists want to try and say, I know there's uh an avenue for me to show them different. I know there is. I've seen it with my own eyes. I just have to get my hands on this information. I'm going to try one more ancient Greek class coming up on Wednesday, and I'm sure my senses and inner sanctity will be annihilated by the time I get through, but I'll just see. Maybe somebody will acquire a little bit of grace from God. It's possible. People do grow, usually. Sometimes they never do, though, you know. If they have an ulterior motive for being acceptive of things that don't really, they're not the inducive, or what would the word be? It's not, well, that doesn't go hand in hand with like family value type of thing. I'm really all about that. So, if I don't have little kids around, my language isn't the same. My actions aren't the same. I mean, in a matter of speaking, they are. You know, I mean, I'm just not gonna go all gross because somebody's not here to see me. So, yeah. Yeah, but the Flat Earth British channel is, I would recommend if you wanna, like today's got Crime Scene Earth. It's a new series. He's got missing world population in the 1800s. Um, with the Franco-Persia War of 1870, and there's like not a lot of photography or information on it and stuff. He's digging up a lot of stuff. He really, I can't express enough what this person knows, that I don't think he can express enough what he knows, because I know it. He's one of them, yeah, like, I guess they call people who, um, I don't know, I guess they call people like that and like me all kinds of things, don't they? So then I was listening to, oh, a couple of people. One's a doctor, another a life coach, and another person, and they're talking about narcissists. And I was thinking about how a narcissist will like to triangulate you with new people that they've met. And sometimes I think it's really not even all about that. It doesn't matter. If you know that's what their personality is, like they'll try and cause a conflict between what people would call you and the new source or whatever, and God knows what they're saying about you too, like if they meet new people or whatever. Um, and I was thinking, if you live every day just knowing this is the type of person this is, and 9 times out of 10, something's always going to happen, something's always going to be said. I mean, it's horrible. I haven't always lived that way, but um, I've learned that that's the best route for me to take. I mean, it's great. You can have all the hope in the world for somebody, but you know how they are. They know how they are, but a lot of people don't always know that when they first meet them, just like you didn't. So, I don't know. Just keep your eyes open, is what I'm saying. If you're around people like that, what I do, I limit my time I spend with people. I don't spend any time with some of them that aren't involved with my immediate welfare, my home, the things I own, you know, things like that. So, I mean, other than that, if somebody treats me like shady, I'm completely done with them. You know, I don't care what relative they think they are of mine. I'll tell them that we are no longer related, no matter what they think. I don't care if they came out of my body. If they're acting like shady characters, that's who they showed themselves to be. I can't stress that enough. You know, yeah, forgive people. They know not what they do. Yeah, but you can't have psychopaths around. You know, that's not a good thing. You have to be protective of yourself, and even your emotional welfare will wreak havoc on your health. You better believe it will. If you're upset, if you don't sleep right, if you are interrupted while you're eating, if you're resting, and they know, see, these are crafts and actions and motives and sounds and different things. They're even documented things that irritate the human soul. You would have to be inhuman to practice it to begin with, or to implement it, but to actually have it done to you, that's a little bit different too. Why are they practicing something that would annihilate, like a sound that would annihilate the flesh of another human being? Who would do that? You know, a creature that isn't, that's so sick that they can't help themselves. Like I say, it's just like opening up the lion's gate and letting them out might not be a good idea, you know? Excuse me. So yeah, I was thinking about that. It's like I really know, and what it's like to when I go out in public, I just know. Or if um Doug has gone somewhere and come back, there's always, and he's got to tell me everything. And there's always going to be something. It is his intervention. His, like, might be flat out an invention, but there will be something that will irritate my soul that was put there to do just that. So that's why I love friends around that have been through these things, and they know when people are doing that. And but like my point was, um it's not even that it's intentional or they're trying to triangulate. They're always looking for the new and the fresh. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you go or what you're doing. There would probably never be any intimate alone time, and like conversations don't always give you that intimacy, sometimes like actually maybe taking a walk or watching a show together, or things that I think normal people would want to do together, but life's not always normal around people like that. So um they appear so in public, but what it's like every other day, so, so we all know people like that. Whatever, we got kind of fooled at the beginning, and now we know better. But oh, uh a man named Eric, and I'll probably mess up his last name. I did sub to him. He uh, surfs on the Great Lakes, and I've got just a phenomenal picture of him hanging 10 on Lake Superior on my Facebook, and and I've shared a video of his too. Um, that's great. I want to go. I have surfed once, didn't do so good, but um, in the Gulf of Mexico, and I want to go paddle boarding, and Lake Superior would be so beautiful, but I want to paddle board where if I do fall in, I'm not going to freeze, because 38 degrees and my osteoarthritis is not going to be cool. And if it's, well, it'd be very cool. And if it's windy out and I don't have a wetsuit, I don't want to invest in one. So I'm thinking there's thousands, 10,000 lakes in this state. So probably somewhere north of me I know a few really nice, warm, sandy beach type lakes, not the big boulder rocks, ferocious. Well, there's beautiful beaches on Lake Superior too, but it's just not. I mean, you can swim in it, and I've waded in it, swimmed in it, jumped in it from 30 feet a cliff. I mean, and it's always been cold. So, yeah, anyway. But I do admire them surfers out there. I stood and watched them one time. Felt like it was going to snow, and I was standing on the shore, and there was about 4 or 5 people out there surfing, and one didn't have a wetsuit on. I think he had shorts, and I'm thinking, geez, I was bundled up, and I could feel the spray off the water, and so yeah. Doug says there's one where Eric's got a red beard, he's got red hair, and he's just covered in ice on his face. I believe it. That's not hard to believe. I'm sure I'll see it. I haven't really checked out all his. There's a documentary him and his wife did for PBS on surfing the Great Lakes. So if you look that up, you'll find them. So yeah, but he came to help Doug put the flywheel in our Volkswagen Bug, and did it just out of the kindness of his heart, because it takes two people to get it out of there. Might take two to get it in too. I don't know. I think Doug thinks he can brace it and get it in. Not sure. And I might help. Depends on the mood I'm in. You know, I've like helped him set transmissions in, and I took my own motor out and changed the timing belt, put it back in, and got a light and checked the specs on it. And so, I mean, I'm not, I work on cars too, if I want to. And if I've had to, I do. And I used to own a body shop, and we still do. But, I mean, a long time ago. Very long time ago. So, yeah. I do a few things in my life. Quite a few. Pretty well, actually. Or good enough. Yeah. I was a great mom, and I do everything else good enough. You know, maybe that's what I was, just a mom that my kids turned out funky. So Satan tries to say, well, you weren't a very good mom, and I tell him to go himself, because yeah, he needs to, because that's an absolute lie. You know. Oh, anyway, you know that little naggy voice in your head that doesn't belong to you? That one? Yeah, that's not you trying to discourage yourself. You know, that is a dark force entity that plays with people. Or he'll say, I love, love, love you. Keep doing your little rituals. I think you're stupid. You know, yeah, but yeah. And so it's been, got a little sunshine yesterday. Then it just started getting cold. It was warm kind of this morning. Now it's 67. Was 65 just a little bit ago, and a little more cloudy now. It says partly cloudy, 67. But with the wind, I had to close windows. I had them open for a while, but oh, and then I made a potato salad yesterday too, and some steak, which was really tough. So it was good that we had the potato salad too along with it. So at least something was soft to chew on, you know. So yeah, that was a trip out. It might have been the grisliest piece of meat I ever encountered. Doesn't bother me too bad. I mean, I got hit here and I've got a couple teeth that cracked that were missing. I had put a gold crown on one. It's the side I've had my stroke on too. All this, I'm sure, along with the being gassed from having the wrong fittings put on in our house and my allergies, all of that led to my not feeling well in my life, but I'm doing better now. I was allergic to the gold, and that made it worse. And so then I just had to have these two taken out, and I can't get anything in there because I'm allergic to all the materials that they use for dental stuff, implants or whatever. So, and just chewing on one side of your mouth if you're eating like crispy stuff can be really hard on your digestion. So, I mean, all these things I could go on and on. It's a trip. It's amazing I'm so strong, you know. But I do go in spurts. I gotta pace myself, honestly, you know. I don't want to, like, go out there and be working in the heat and fall over in the yard or something, you know. I mean, I'm not that unhealthy. It's just I have to be aware of what I'm doing to myself, you know. Doesn't matter what age you are. I had like heat stroke when I was really tiny, and you can get sick. Even on a cloudy day, you can get heat stroke. It won't be sunstroke, but it could be heat stroke. And a lot of people don't realize, like maybe when you're working, you get a little overexhausted or something. Yeah, it could be that. And it's not always just lack of water or electrolytes or anything. It could be lack of sleep or upsets in your life. Everything affects our body and our mind, you know, that, and our souls, you know, souls. Wonder what people who hail the dark force think about souls. Hmm. Just wondering. I have no clue. I ran away from maniac, weirdo, um, I would call them ritualistic, satanic, crafty warlocks and witches that actually thought they could use God's elements against his people. I mean, if you think you're doing hocus pocus for yourself and nobody else is involved, then what would be the reason? You can get everything done within your life from the grace of God just through your day. Like, think it. Gee, I wish my friend would put out a video, and there's a video. You know, think it ahead of time. You know, specifically, somebody that only does a video once a week and you're hoping they'll do another one. You know, that's not a coincidence. That's the grace of God working within, and they know they're psychic. We're all connected like that. That's how the dark force works against us because they know these abilities better than most people do. You know, and they can use it against you, and they do use it against you, you know. It's the ones that I know, well, I always know. I know ahead of time. And then I just can only tell you that it's not free and something's going to happen to you for doing that. Just a word to the very unwise. I usually say a word to the wise, but not in this case. I can't. It's so unwise. Um, It's just nasty that people would use implements of destruction towards another human being. Even if it's like a love spell or something, are you freaking retarded or something? Wouldn't you want somebody to love you for yourself, um, without any kind of craft involved? That would be, gee, here, drink a potion, or they're actually going to love you not out of force or not out of trickery, but just because. That sounds more appealing to me. A world of witchcraft is warped la la land, you know. What are we supposed to do? Raise our children and say, well, Luke and John, just go outside and get some crystals, and I'll give you some amethyst and garnet and or whatever. And if you put these two together and light this color candle and walk around the house 40 times, and make a circle of salt, and then your God's gonna pour his graces upon you. Or you can get up in the morning and think, hello, God, what a beautiful day. Um, Gee, I hope this happens, and then it happens. What sounds more feasible? You're already using the elements of the ether. You're already there. You don't have to use Satan's hocus pocus for you know? It's their games. It's what Satan uses against them to offend God. Why do a ritual for something you can get for free and not have to pay for it? It's absolutely free. But you're going to pay the dark force for using that force for what? Because you think that you've gained something to lose your soul. What is it? What is a man to gain the world? Then he loses his soul. Paraphrasing, you know. Oh, yeah. Just doesn't make any sense. And I ran away from that retarded shit. It's like I knew when I was a little kid, these people dressing up in their robes and doing their bullshit had major mental problems. It was pretty obvious to me even as a child, you know. So if we accredit to certain bloodlines actually being physically ill, all we can do is put it in the hands of God, you know. So, because it is unstable. I just told you how easy it is to get almost everything you want in your life just by thinking about it. So why would you give credit to somebody you have to in beg and pay for it later? Even to the extent of some people sacrifice their children. Maybe not in a actual, it's always a harmful manner. It could be their psyche. You could be sacrificing their soul. You could be sacrificing them physically in different ways. It could be an emotional, mental, loving way, withholding love. That wrecks the psyche of a child. A lot of crafts, hitting your child in their frontal lobe. If you take out compassion spots in a person, you know, there's different points in our bodies that can be harmed, that harm our psyche because they're connected in the mental and physical, which I have studied and worked in both. dude, and the spiritual. I got it all going on. I know what I'm talking about. It's a whole thing. You cannot treat a human being with just one thing. Like you go to a physical doctor, you don't have the medical or the emotional. I mean, you don't have the you have the medical, you don't have the emotional and the spiritual. And the same with the other ones. If you go to your priest or if you go to your psychiatrist or whatever, you're always going to be lacking two other aspects of your care. That's what I'm getting at. That's why I say I have it all going on because I worked and still do work in those fields when I have to or if I want to, you know. But I'm talking like minister or like if you hurt yourself, I can help you live spiritually or emotionally or physically. It's a something that most people we know it, but like if you're a doctor, you're not gonna promote the psychologist or if you're a minister, you're probably not gonna really praise the medical doctor or you see what I'm saying. I hate to use any titles of that's been used in any churches because these Zionist churches aren't doing it right. There's not a religion that represents God on this planet. There just isn't. It's not done right. So I can't say anybody is anything, you know. So I believe in Christ and I believe in God, but I don't have anywhere to call my church except for the other people that feel the same way I do. There's so many people out here that have been hurt in the church, if not annihilated. And this, it's so they've been hurt and they don't realize that it was people and the satanic realm we're in that have hurt them and they blame God for what people did to them, you know. And that I see that everywhere. I really do. And there's no I don't know how to talk to these people. It's like, you know, some of them really are angry. And I mean, I don't blame them. I was so really hurt when I found out the whole truth of the thing that um yeah, it was a lonely thing too, but I didn't go overboard with it. I didn't go, well, the church hurt me, therefore there is no God and there's no Christ. Well, I will tell you once again, they changed the name of Christ. And what is in a name or a word? Well, if you have to have a word to describe the goodness in your heart, then give me your word for the badness in there. You know, are they the same? I'll say no, 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 they're not the same. What do we want to nurture more out of people? The one that where anything goes and life can become dangerous. This is not just a expedition through the jungle. This is life and lives of other people that we have to consider with everything that we're doing, you know. So, well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I really appreciate you being here. Once again, check out Flat Earth British. it's more, his show is like proving what was in the past, not just about the earth being flat, but if basing that one of the biggest lies to expose, and then finding out so many other ones along the way, and seeing how it's all connected, even with the lies we've been told and everything. The guy's phenomenal. I think you really enjoy that channel if you check him out. So, all right, I will probably be here tomorrow. I'll talk to you then. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.